Alright, we're back. It's been a long time since we've done this, actually. It's actually been like a whole 7 seconds since I turned the camera off on the last recorder.
It's good to be back.
Recording. We are going to try to dedicate this, see how long we can draw it out. Talk about Stranger Things, specifically Season 2. I didn't rewatch it or reread any synopsises before we did this. And I haven't watched. I rewatched like the 3rd episode with my mom the other day.
See, I'm rewatching it with Hope, my fiance, for those who don't know, because she had no idea about Stranger Things until last week, and now she's got her whole family watching it. It's such a good show.
It's that show. It's like when I first showed. So let's start from the beginning, okay? One of my roommates, his name is Matt. I was downstairs where he lives at my house, and I was like, I think all my records that I collected were down there, and I was just kind of moving them around or checking them out, looking at them. And he was watching Stranger Things. He was watching the first episode, and I was like, "Hey, what are you watching?" He said, "Oh, it's this show that just came out on Netflix tonight. It's supposed to be amazing." He said, "Everyone's like losing their minds over it." Mm-hmm. I don't think it came out that night. I think it maybe came out the day before, and it had just exploded with popularity.
Oh yeah.
Also, pardon the dog noises. She's walking around, and if I put her outside, she's going to claw at the door and make even more noise. So,
just have to take those dog claws on the hardwood for tonight.
Whenever I don't need her to be loud, she is. So, anyway, so he's watching it, and I should say too, I'm a big fan of Alien, the first one. I'm not a big horror fan, but I do love suspense and sci-fi, very much so. I'm a big Supernatural fan. I'm sorry, I know that's very embarrassing to most people, but I love the show. Anyway, so he's watching it, and I'm trying to do my thing. I'm trying to I was organizing my records. So remember, I was cleaning. I was in that mindset.
Right.
You know how you'll get in the mood to clean, and you just I got to take advantage of this mood right now.
Exactly, and you're just like a man on a mission.
Exactly. So I couldn't do it, though. I mean, I sat down and probably watched the first 2 full ones with him. Maybe even more. I can't really remember. But I was blown away. I was absolutely just... I couldn't believe how good it was. And so that's kind of how it started for me. And, of course, if you're listening to this, you know the show. Even if you haven't seen it. Which, yeah, so just so you know, spoilers all throughout this.
Yes, I was about to say, before we get into any discussion of Season 2... we need to say spoiler alert because we're going to ruin the whole show.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to talk a lot about. I'd love to talk just too about Season 1 because that correlates to all this. And if you haven't seen it yet, please do not listen because it is a show that
you need to watch on your own, enjoy it without people like us ruining it.
And it is a sci-fi show, but it bridges all gaps.
It does. It really does. It hits a lot of different genres.
You know, anyone. I mean, the only people I've heard that didn't like it are people who are just too cool for whatever's popular.
Too cool for whatever's popular, or they literally just don't like anything.
Yeah.
They have the personality of a soggy piece of toast.
Right. And, I don't know. So... I was pretty much hooked immediately, and I was just in love with it. And of course, now, like I was saying, you've heard of it, regardless of if you've seen it or not. Which you've seen it because if you haven't, you've turned this off. Thank you very much. So it's the cultural powerhouse. I mean, it is unbelievable. I'm so happy how big it is because when I finished it, I was like, man, this feels like one of those shows that I'm going to have to be fighting for. I'm going to have to be constantly telling people, please watch it. I know you've never heard of it. It's this great show, dude. And there'd be like nothing about it. I would just love it. It would only get the 1 season and I would just die. The only person on earth who loved this show. It felt like that because it felt like this weird cult thing, but it's not. It was just so good.
It just caught fire. And it started when I realized just... I don't know, all of my friends would come up to me and ask me if I had seen Stranger Things.
It's that kind of show. It's like a Breaking Bad.
It is. And you know what's crazy? I've fought with people about Breaking Bad. Like, I've been that person who has begged people to watch Breaking Bad, and they just will not do it. And I sound like a freak because I keep saying Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, Stranger Things is that show right now. All of my friends have seen it. people's families are watching this show. People like who have parents in their 50s who were alive. By the way, Stranger Things, I love the vibe it gives off being set in the 80s. It encompasses that era of time perfectly. It's not too like overdone and cliched, but it's also, you know, it's the 80s.
Yeah, right.
It's like they do it great. But you have people of all ages, like, you know, I know my nephew who is, coincidentally, he's 11 years old.
Ooh.
He loves the show. He knows nothing about the 80s, or he barely remembers my name half the time, but he loves the show. And parents who are like in their early to mid 50s love the show. I like how everyone's on board with Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mean, both my parents have seen it to completion. Well, okay, my dad doesn't have internet where he lives, but he's seen all season 1, and luckily, since he doesn't have internet, he's not going to get it spoiled, you know, so...
Well, how did he see season 1 without internet?
Well, okay, so...
Did he have it and had lost it?
He used his data.
Oh, wow.
I think he watched the first episode up here with us, and then he just watched it all on data.
Stranger Things is so good, people are spending... By the way, data must be made of gold some moon rock, because...
Yeah. I was getting text saying, because I'm still on his plan, I was getting like alerts like, you were over. Stop it. We care about it.
That's right. We are going to repossess your car.
Yeah, we don't want to have to do this. You're making us do this.
Exactly.
No, he thought it was worth it, and it certainly is worth it because it's an amazing show. And man, so first season, I had no complaints. I really don't think I did. I think the one thing that people seemed to complain about was that Barb's death was overlooked.
Yes, I did think that. And by the way, everyone, I apologize for my sniffling and snorting. I'm battling a cold right now. When winter hits, I just have a cold from like November to February. So
just perpetual cold.
Exactly. But so bear with us. But yeah, Barb's death was overlooked, and you know,
here's the thing. Now, if you have not seen it, which you all have.
If you have not seen it, this is the absolute last, because we haven't revealed anything big, but leave.
Yeah.
Stop.
Get out of here.
Exactly.
But if you watch it all from beginning to end, now, season 1 to 2, it doesn't feel that way. Because if you finish this first season and go straight to 2 in the same night, it doesn't feel like Barb's death is overlooked because it goes right into it. So
because they did almost, yeah.
And I knew it would be that way. So I didn't really complain about Barb's death thing being a thing. I knew they would probably
redeem it somehow.
Especially considering how much people complained about it. I knew they would.
Exactly. They're too smart to let that just die.
It was more in people. She kind of became a meme. That was everyone's favorite character. They had shirts that just had her on it at Hot Topic.
She spent like a total of 22 minutes in the episode.
I have a big crush on her actress, though. I don't know if you've seen.
I haven't looked her up. Yeah. I did notice that she was cute, but I
have a big crush on her, and anyway.
I don't have a crush on anyone except my fiance because she's listening.
She's listening. No, but that was the only sort of complaint I had, other than, there were certain sci-fi tropes, things that you've seen in other shows, but it was kind of trying to do that. It's very derivative of 80s your general sci-fi. But it kind of it embraces it, so it works to its benefit, I felt like.
And it never wears anything out.
Not really. And one thing I've talked about with other people is that the show's, my favorite thing about it, besides the characters, which are the best, that's the best thing about it, but one of the best things about it is it constantly sets up these scenarios that you think are going to go one way, and then it completely does the other. Like, you know how we've all seen so many movies and TV shows to the point where a character starts to walk down a hallway, and you know what's going to happen to him. You
shouldn't have done that.
As soon as he turns down the hallway, you might as well just turn off the TV and go to bed because you don't need to watch it because you know what's going to happen. This show is not like that but sometimes it will get you. You'll think there's no way this is going to happen, and it does, and then vice versa where there's no way you know what's going to happen. You're so certain, and then it turns it on its head. I think the biggest example of that in season 1 specifically, and season 2, oh my god, I hate that I love Steve because I was stressed so hard. There were so many times in season 2 that I was like, he's fucking good. He's dead.
Dude, I know.
Steve's done. He's done.
And
dude.
what you know what's crazy though? I love Steve. A lot of people grew to love him after season 2.
Yeah.
His role took a big turn
Dude.
more favorably.
Yeah.
But I always kind of liked Steve.
Well, like,
even though he was set up to be like the douchey, preppy jock in the first season, when he came back and just hit home runs on that Demogorgon,
I have chills on my arm right now.
it
thinking
almost
about
made
that.
me cheer at my TV because
Yes.
I was just like, he is a part of this. He is going to fight the Upside Down.
What you think going into it that, oh, he's this. That was one thing I did have a complaint about going in was I hate this subplot of the preps jocks and Nancy and
Freaks
John.
and Geeks knockoff.
Yes,
kinda.
I didn't really get into that part of it, and it still isn't my favorite part of it, but I guess it's important to develop Jonathan.
I can't blame him for doing
or not
it.
Jonathan, Steve and all.
and-
Well, and I guess he's part of it, but
I can't blame him for doing it. I see what they do.
And certainly these high school dramas are a pivotal part of American culture, so I guess they
Exactly.
have to do it. But yeah, you think it's setting up that Steve is the jerk,
The bad guy, yeah.
popular kid who's kind of turning the sweet girl Nancy into his thing,
Trying to corrupt her,
It's
yeah.
a complete opposite, though. It's a complete flip flop, and by the end, you love. I thought it was obvious that Steve was I loved him at the end of it because
Exactly.
he. Sure, yes, he was a dick. He did some shitty things, but like nothing unforgivable. I feel like,
exactly.
and then he did. He straight up, basically cut his friends out of his life, and then he even went to Jonathan's house to talk to him and
Exactly.
apologize for the fight. And even when he saw Nancy there, he wasn't like, "Oh, of course you're here." He was like, I remember he was like, he was surprised.
He was
Nancy,
surprised.
He didn't care about that whole dynamic of it.
He's just like, weird.
Yeah, so he just was like, "No, I just want to talk, Jonathan." And as soon as he pulled up, though, in that scene, I thought he was done for.
Right.
I was like, Steve is dead. He's gone.
They're going to get rid of this guy because we're supposed to hate him right now.
Right. And so he comes in. He ends up. I think didn't he see the Demogorgon? Then he goes to leave. Right.
He sees the Demogorgon. He gets into his car and leaves, and everyone's just like, well, he didn't get killed, but the other obvious thing was he didn't help. He ran away because he's scared and a dick. He comes back with that baseball bat and just goes Mark McGuire.
No, remember when he spins it? He spins it, dude. I was like, I want to kiss this man on the lips right
Me
now,
too.
dude. I was like, I was making jokes the whole time watching season 2. I'd be sitting there watching it with Keyshawn, and Steve would say something. I'd be like, he's just so hot. And Keyshawn would just start laughing.
Oh, man.
But I do totally have a crush on that actor. He's
a good-looking fella.
Very good-looking
Not gonna
guy.
lie. His real name is like something Creary, Joe Creary, something like that.
I follow him on Instagram.
I follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious on Twitter. But
I follow
guy.
the whole crew and everything. And,
Exactly.
But they, anyway, when he went out to his car, when he was like, I can't deal with this, I'm leaving. That's so horror movie where, they punish the wimp. The guy who runs away is obviously going to be the one who gets killed. So when he ran out to his car, I was like, he's done for.
He's
That was the second time I felt that way. Then he comes in and fights it. Like, dude, in that moment, I did a complete 180 on the
too.
character.
Me
I didn't
too.
really care that he was about to die. Really, I was like, oh, he's going to. And I was tense. I didn't necessarily want him to, but I wasn't going to be too upset.
It wasn't going to break your heart.
But then after that, oh my, he got Jonathan the camera.
He got Jonathan the camera. He
Yeah.
ended up patching things up with Nancy, and especially after the whole Marquee Theater, Nancy Wheeler's a slut thing. That was horrible. But and then it just goes right into season 2, where he's basically the mother goose to all of the kids.
It became such a meme so quick, and I love it.
I know.
love it.
And he's embraced it on his social media. He knows it's true, and he loves it, and that makes me love him more.
I saw a thing that was like, it was someone making a joke of like a social justice warrior style post where they're like, not all families are husband, wife, and 2 kids.
Yeah.
Some families are different. We should embrace all types of families. And it just showed Steve with the kids, and I was like, yes!
That was so awesome.
Yes, I love
I
it.
saw a meme where Steve was on a cell phone. It was not in the show.
Right.
It was just the actor, but he was on the cell phone with his hand on his hip, and he looked kind of feminine.
Yeah.
And he looked a little sassy, and
Yeah.
he said, I guess Steve's telling, what's his name?
Lucas
or no,
Mike.
Mike, yes. I was going to say Mike, and I thought I'd be wrong. But
yeah.
he was like, I guess Steve is arguing with Mike about curfew again on the phone.
I love him. I love it so much. But anyway, he was certainly a highlight. But and one thing I like how they spin this story in season 2. They don't make it particularly obvious, and this is how I interpreted it. Remember in the first episode how Steve is frustrated over that exam he's taking in season 2.
That paper he's writing. Yes.
And he's talking to Nancy about
in the car.
How he's like, I shouldn't even try to go to college, or I should just quit, or I should just get a dad.
Work for my old man.
And I feel like they don't make it very obvious, which I like, but I think that's why she is driven away from him at that point. Because she talks about in season 1 how, she's talking to, I think, Jonathan about how she hates how her family is, where, oh, my dad had a good job.
The boring suburban life. They bought their house at the end of the cul-de-sac.
Jonathan said, screw that. And she said, yeah, screw that.
I never connected that moment of Steve saying that as a turnoff to Nancy, but that's obvious.
Because I've talked to someone who's like, I don't see why she just, Steve's such a good guy. Why would she just split up with him? And that's true. I like Steve a lot. I didn't necessarily want her to break up with him, but I think that I feel like they it goes with their characters. I think it makes sense, and she just she saw that he might just become this boring.
Might be going down the same path as her parents,
and also what had been going on in season 1. Her and Jonathan had just spent a lot of time together. It just kind of made sense. I think they're together in real life, right? Those actors.
They are together in real life. My fiance would totally ship them. She loves the fact that they're together in real life.
See, I just I like Jonathan a lot, but I just, like I said, I have a huge crush on Steve's actor, and I don't know who I'm more attracted to in that show, him or Barb's character. I swear they're both gorgeous, but. What was I going to say? What was the other thing? Oh, okay, so I had no really complaints about season 1. That was the one thing I'd kind of been talking about. I remember when I finished it, I kind of felt like it was one of the most perfect shows I'd ever seen, which isn't particularly hard when you only have 8 episodes to your name.
That's the only thing I don't like about Stranger Things is the fact that they don't give me 50 episodes every season.
I know.
But understandably, it works perfectly, like you said.
Yeah. Give me one moment, folks. I want to go put my dog in my brother's room so we don't have to keep hearing this. Alright, so what was the last thing you said? Because I'm going to cut all this out and go right to this. You were talking about... Oh, you wish it was more episodes,
right? Yeah, I said, my only complaint, jokingly, is that they don't give us 50 episodes a season.
Luckily the episodes are pretty long.
Right.
But
like the finale of season 2 was an hour and 34 minutes long. That's a movie.
That's a movie. And so you're certainly getting your bang for your buck, especially if you're like bumming someone's Netflix account.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's worth... I would pay top dollar for it. If they put out a Blu-ray box set, I'd buy it just to support them. I mean, it's that good. And I don't know. But as I was saying, I felt season 1 was mostly faultless. Besides nitpicks, you'd be grasping at straws. I feel like
right.
Maybe a few tiny little bits of like the kids. For kid actors, amazing.
Oh,
but there was like a few lines where maybe they delivered it a little stilted. But I was willing to shrug that off because, like I said, for their kid actors, and a lot of it was like 99% great.
Exactly.
Especially 11.
Oh my goodness!
Chilled to the bone for a lot of her scenes.
Millie Bobby Brown delivered Oscar performances throughout the entire series.
At like 12, 13 years old or something. I swear, the whole time and it sounds pervy. I don't mean it this way, but I can't wait till she's like an adult. It's still acting.
Oh
like,
yeah, I
she's
can't
gonna
wait
be,
to see
like,
her take on big leading roles in big movies.
Yeah, as an adult, like when she's done this for years. I just hope
she sticks with
her
it.
life doesn't get because child actors you hear horror stories.
Oh
so
my gosh, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree 100%.
I think they all could do great things, and I would honestly love if they like. Let's say Stranger Things ends, like they say it's ending, and then like they come back when they're in like their 30s and do it.
Oh my gosh!
Like I would willingly wait like a decade of my life for that season. That's how good it is. That's how good that could be. And wait till they're all adults. Like that'd be so. Maybe not 30s. They'd
in their
be like
20s. We'd be in our 30s.
Yes, we would be. But that's weird to think about.
That's
another video.
That's another podcast.
Talk.
A sad talk.
But season 2, I felt was not faultless.
Season 2 was not faultless. Still great.
Still amazing.
Still love the direction the show's going, but there were a few hiccups.
Episode 7.
Okay.
We could. That's
that. When we say we like season 2, but there's a problem, that's what we're talking about.
And if you like it, I beg you to write, please, and tell me why. Because it is the most.
Tweet at us 3 things, not even 5, but 3 things that episode provides useful to the series. And I'm talking something that isn't obvious, like, oh, number 8's in it. I'm saying something that, why did we need to see all that?
Here's what they're going to say. Later on, it flashes back to it when Eleven's using her power to close the door. That's unnecessary. They didn't need to do that. No. She would have just, they could have had Mike say that in an episode.
Right, because, okay.
Okay, so here's the one big thing. This is what Matt said, and Matt didn't like it that much either. So it's not like he
wasn't pro.
He was trying to just play the middle ground, and that's fair. I was like asking him. I was like, did I miss something?
The importance of this episode.
He was like, well, that was kind of what he pointed out, and I said, well, the only other thing I could think of was them saying that the Doctor was still alive. I remember when I first finished the first season. I said, he's not dead. They don't specifically show him, like, with his head just clean ripped off.
Yeah, the Demogorgon just chowing down on his spleen.
I knew he would be alive. I had no doubt in my mind. And not that I'm saying, oh, so obvious. I just thought if I was writing the show, that would be what I would do. So, I mean, why not? That'd be
hide
genius.
that Easter egg in there,
yeah. So, and that part of it, sure. But if you like that episode, and you are also not a Suicide Squad Hot Topic fan, then I really would like to hear from you, because that's the only reason. If you love, because that was the most low budget Suicide Squad ripoff, dude. That was so cringy. I remember, I think I made a joke when we were watching it. The Mohawk guy. I think I told you about this.
Yeah,
I was like,
the spiky guy.
I was like, this guy's name has got to be something like Skeeter or Axel, and then his name was Axel. I was like, are you kidding me?
I called that one. You did.
And it was so bad.
And of course they had the crazy girl who was just,
they had the Harley Quinn.
She was our Harley Quinn.
He was the Joker.
Then the huge black guy, he was like their muscle man.
I guess Killer Croc.
Was that in Suicide Squad.
And then you had the Deadshot, who was Will Smith. That was the black girl with the afro, who was kind of the normal one.
Will Smith was in Suicide Squad?
Yeah. You're not missing much, dude.
Yo, to tell you how bad Suicide Squad is, I have not seen the movie, and I think it's horrible.
Yeah, it's just poorly executed. I thought it looked amazing leading up to the trailers.
Will Smith is one of the most top-grossing headlining actors of the last 20 years, and it's such a bad movie. 2 years after the fact, I didn't know he was in it.
That's sad. But but why is there always like a
plot twist?
There's always like that normal, like that girl with the afro. She was like the normal. Like,
she was like the one who held everything together.
Why was she even in it? What is she?
Like she had no. She was just a hooligan.
They all acted too like why? Because I remember, at one point they're like, we're society's rejects. We're the freaks of the world. Exactly. Nobody wants us. No, 3 of y'all are freaks.
3 of y'all are freaks.
2 of y'all
are homeless.
I swear.
The other 2 of you just can't make a resume. Like honestly,
and I don't mean to we're probably going to be talking bad about this episode. So if you like it and you don't want to hear it, I don't blame you for not listening anymore.
But we're going to keep on.
So I don't. If you don't listen to all this and then say I bullied you, I've given you warning now. I don't like it. I'm going to keep talking about it. I feel like if you like that episode, you must not have seen a lot of other movies or entertainment,
Right,
because
exactly.
it was the most obvious, like, hand-fisted. I mean, it felt like it was directed for little kids. It felt like something this is what I said to Keyshawn when I first saw it. It felt like an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle kind of thing. Did you feel, dude? And that, I haven't read any reviews about any. So if I say anything that sounds like it's from, I copy this from an article. I on my mama's grave. I haven't. All I do know that other people out there, it's a controversial topic. Some people love it, some people hate it. That's all I know. But it felt like an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle style. It just was so over the top and overblown. It felt like another thing and a whole other show. And when I was revisiting it and kind of thinking about it, I thought, can I just skip this episode? That's the important thing to think. Let's talk about. Can you skip that episode and still know what's going on? And there's only, as of right now, unless they bring back Dr. Brenner in the third season, which I think even then, it could still just be a better surprise to just have him walk on screen. Yes, that would be better than them just saying...
After a whole season of speculation, not seeing him, people will still, for example, after season 1, people maybe felt Bard's death was underplayed. They give it credibility and give it validity in season 2. After season 1, is Brennerman still alive? Season 3, you get your answer.
Yeah. I would rather them honestly not have that guy say, the doctor's still alive, and just tease it, never show it in the show, and in the season, excuse me, and it would have been better to just have him walk on screen, honestly, and a lot, because he does... That actor does make an appearance in the season, but it's as like a vision. He's not real. And I love that actor. He's so creepy.
I was about to say, he does the doctor good.
He's like creepy. And he's not like a horror kind of character, but he's just like this quiet. He's I mean, they're all amazing. I could go on.
The casting for the show is incredible.
And was talking to Matt, the guy I brought up earlier, who was trying to defend the episode fairly. He doesn't like it, but he was just trying to think of something. And I was saying it had to have been directed by someone else. It had to have been. Because it felt like
different,
a completely jumbled nightmare. And he was like, no, the brothers direct every episode. And we hadn't looked into this or anything. And I was like, well, I know they oversee it. They're the creators, but I don't think they probably directed every episode.
They write the screenplay.
Yeah.
And the storyline.
And they have directed. They did direct some of them.
They are on set.
But that other guy who was in that Beyond Stranger Things, there was another guy.
He has the full title of director.
Yeah. But someone else who didn't direct any other episodes of season 2, maybe she did. I think it was a woman. I think her name was Rebecca. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I honestly don't want to know. I don't want to know what other things she's had a hand in. If this is...
keep me away from it.
I think she did... I don't know if she did anything season 1. I can't imagine, but she was her only episode contribution was this episode in season 2, and oh my gosh, it is a nightmare. I mean, I feel like I hate it more than I should, but it's just because of the standard that the show has made
set
for itself. Yeah,
and another thing that we haven't even touched on is the fact that episode 6.
Oh my god.
Episode 6 is perfect. It ends balls to the wall, where the Demodogs are approaching the lab. Hell is about to break loose. You automatically click watch episode 7.
You can't.
It
was like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
We were dead, miserably tired.
Exactly.
We gotta keep going.
This got to happen now. So you hit episode 7, and you just have this show binge blue balls going. Because you sit through the whole... That's how they get you to sit through the whole episode 7, because if it was anywhere else in the series, you wouldn't watch it.
You'd be dry heaving in the corner.
Exactly. So, because you just watch the whole thing thinking, okay, they've got to address episode 6 now. They've got to go back to the lab now. Okay, this is done. Please.
Yeah.
Episode 8 is when you finally get it all. So you can skip that episode, in my opinion.
You can skip it. Here's if you've if you've listened to all this and have seen, blah, blah, what all that jazz, if you haven't watched it for some reason, God help your soul. But if you haven't, here's what you need to know. 11
goes to Chicago.
She gets. Well, you don't even need to know that. I guess you do kind of need to know that if you're going on.
Because this doesn't happen in Hawkins.
Where's those people who were in the beginning of the show? That was another weird thing. They waited till the 7th episode to bring back the people that were at the very first scene
of the very first episode.
I felt like 8 was going to be a huge deal. I'll talk about 8 in a minute. But, so the only thing you need to know is that 11 got all got all edgy and cool looking. I didn't like that look. I thought it was really lame and kind of awful looking. And I'm not, maybe
it's because I love how 11 is before she was. I love how 11 is as is.
I loved the overalls, the
curly hair.
She looked great, and I loved the look. It made sense. It worked, and it's just I feel like it's sad that whole episode was it's just there to explain how she got a vampire's trench coat on and a slick back
and ran into a 1950s greaser.
They dumped Brill cream on her head.
She's got motor oil on her head now,
and really awful eyeliner, and then they said bitchin'. I cringed. I was like, I saw it and said, that's going to be on a shirt at Hot Topic.
And then when Hopper said it I was like, not you, Hopper. And by the way, I loved Hopper in season 1.
He's probably my favorite character.
I loved Hopper in season 1. I love Hopper now. He's just a sexy mountain of a man. I love Hopper.
I feel like in the friend group, I think he's unanimous. Him or 11 seem to be the favorites, and I'm right there with them.
In fact, me and my fiance, real fact, not making this up, are getting a dog when we move into our new apartment on December 1st. It's a little dog. It weighs 30 ounces. It doesn't even weigh pounds.
Yeah.
And we're going to name him Hopper and call him Hop for short.
That's awesome.
And
dude.
so I can just imagine being like, oh, hey, Hop. We're going to watch Stranger Things.
Hop when it's a cute little puppy. Hopper when it's
when it's a doggo.
Yeah. When it's a little more handsome.
And chain smoking.
Yeah.